11.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
All right, well, I saw this little piece of news pop up on some major news tech websites and tech podcasts around the world in the last 48 hours. In fact, Mashable, being one of the sites, has posted a story about a Kiwi, a New Zealand developer who has created a script, a bot, if you will, that goes along to TradeMe and goes and buys random items for him and then delivers them. And if it doesn't find the right random item, it starts adding money to itself so that maybe it could purchase something else a little bit more expensive in the future. I think that's how it works anyway. Well, Paul Hunkin is the developer, and he joins us from his living room today via live Skype video. G'day there, Paul.
How's it going, Glenn?
Very well. Now, explain. I guess first of all, we'll start with exactly what does this bot do?
Well, it's a little computer program, basically. It can do everything that a regular person on TradeMe can do, and it sits there and it tries to find items with free shipping, and it buys them and sends them to me.
Okay.
And so stuff automatically turns up in my post, really.
And so, and how long has it been running for?
It's been running most of this week. It kind of started working about Sunday, and it's bought, I think, 2 things so far.
Yeah.
Yesterday it decided to save its money for the next day. Well, I'd have 3 things by now.
So, and what criteria have you given it?
Well, so it gets $1 each day to spend, you see. So it tries to spend the money that it's got, so it's restricted by price. It also has to find things with free shipping, and yeah, then it just basically picks a random item from a number of categories and tries to find the most rarest and obscure item. The point here was to try and get sort of, the most random things I could. So.
No,
yeah.
so is that the point? Because a lot of people were going, oh, hang on, why? First of all, it sounds cool and interesting, but why?
Well, yeah, why is a very good question. So, I saw this, I saw the comic XKCD where they did this, and I was like, hey, that's actually like kind of a neat idea. That was really all the thought which went into it, to be honest.
What is XKCD?
Oh, XKCD. Yeah, so it's a webcomic. For people not sort of familiar with the web culture, it's quite a popular comic. It's fairly geeky a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has a comic where they did basically this, and I saw it and I was like, hey, why not?
And I think I had a look at the link to that comic. He started in the comic. He had a bot that crawled around eBay, and then certain items started arriving every day that might insinuate that he was potentially a terrorist.
Yeah. That hasn't happened yet, although there's been plenty of speculation that it will.
Now, in writing something like this, I have no idea where to start to write a script. Well, what is a script?
Well, a script's a little computer program. So the thing is, TradeMe very recently sort of released some sort of computer stuff which lets people like me write programs to use TradeMe. Before this, it was very difficult, but they've just recently done this. So with any luck, we should start to see sort of lots of this sort of stuff start to pop up on the internet using Trade.
Yeah, that is interesting, because you'd think a site like TradeMe would be shutting out anything that did anything automatic, because a lot of websites protect themselves with those captures. When you type in a password or when you create an account, it tries to make sure that you're a real person, right?
Yeah. Well, TradeMe historically has done that for a very long time, but recently, I'm not sure why, they've changed their minds, and it's great. eBay has done something similar for a long time, so it's not that new.
How long did it take to write this piece of code?
It was about sort of an hour or so to write it on the Sunday just gone, and then maybe another hour or so to tweak it over the last week or so, or over the last few days. So yeah, it really didn't take very long.
Wow. Yeah, not long at all. And what kind of knowledge did you need to create it?
Well, TradeMe have a very good site which sort of explains how to use their new programming system. It's a pretty simple little thing. Anyone who'd done a computer science degree should be able to understand it.
Simple.
Yeah.
I like to think I know a bit about computers, but when it comes to coding or anything like that, take me back to BASIC back in the 80s, and I could maybe launch a program.
It's not really that complicated.
Right. Okay. And when you say in the script, so when it's out there crawling, where exactly is it?
It's running on a computer in my house, sort of about a couple of meters away from where I'm sitting.
Okay.
Because
the language that is often used to describe these things, like crawling around the web, and because you hear about Google having crawlers that index websites for the searching. I actually think of little bits of code that aren't fixed anywhere, but they are actually jumping from place to place, and they don't actually sit anywhere. But that's not right, is it? Well,
you could run this anywhere. It's running on the computer in my house here because it's just easy to sort of change stuff if it goes wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Google have places all over the world where they run this sort of stuff. I could run it elsewhere if I wanted to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You say it's bought tonight. What has it bought you so far?
Nothing as exciting as people were predicting so far. Well, at least what the comic would predict. So far, I've got a packet of watch batteries and a USB extension cable. I don't actually own a watch, so the batteries are not great, but I will use the cable.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And it's not a complete surprise, obviously, because you're telling us you know what it has bought. So it's not a complete surprise. It just doesn't arrive in your mailbox. Is there any interaction required from the time it buys it? Do you need to then interact with the seller?
There is a little bit. It doesn't do feedback yet, so I've got to place feedback. Right now, I'm still doing the actual...
Isn't it just A++, we'll trade again, great trader?
I could do that, yeah. That would probably work pretty well. Right now, it doesn't actually pay for the things automatically. I can do that, but I don't trust it with my credit card yet.
Yeah.
Because, I figure I'll pick up a Prezi card or something and use that instead. It's still pretty much automatic. Apart from that,
and it also has its own Twitter account.
Yes, proving quite popular. It's got 3,200 followers or something. I'm not sure what the latest is, but yeah, it's proved quite popular on there.
And are you
2 years to get 100 followers on Twitter, and the bot managed 3,000 in a night. Yeah,
a piece of AI gets all these followers.
Yeah, it's worrying. I've made something more powerful than me. That's,
they will take over, our overlords. So what's the reaction been from TradeMe? Have you heard from them at all?
Nothing official. I know a couple of people at TradeMe, and apparently I've sort of internally won their best use of the programming interface award.
Brilliant. And are you surprised at all by the reaction, not only here in New Zealand but worldwide about this?
Oh yeah. I'm very surprised. I mean, when I first put it up on Sunday, I was like, oh look, it's got a couple of hundred views, and I was like, oh that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And I sort of woke up the next morning and it had 80,000, and it's up to 168,000 now. So it's been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's been covered in a bunch of languages and. Yeah.
And all over some very popular web video and podcasts as well.
Yeah.
If people want to go and follow the bot, it's suitably titled TradeMe_XKCD 576. Why the 576?
576 was the comic on XKCD.
Okay, that was the number. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the links are on there as well. But you've also got your own website. What's that?
I'm at bio.net, bieh.net.
And
so that's where I'm posting updates about how the bot works. Hopefully in a week or so I'll be able to do a photo of this is the random stuff I've got this week or something. That'll be cool.
Yeah, brilliant. And also on Twitter as well, Paul_Hunkin.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter, yes.
Go and bump up his followers. Don't let the artificial intelligence take over. Hey, really interesting to hear about that, Paul, and we look forward to seeing more of your scripts and coding in the future as well.
Thanks very much.
That is Paul Hunkin joining us there from his